Sean Chartier, and I'm the lead designer of ARKON off-road wheels.
My name is Jared, and I'm the media marketing lead for Custom Offsets and ARKON off-road wheels.
So my start was the first ever employee of Custom Offsets, and then I just kind of ventured into design kind of on a whim. I think there was an open, I don't know if you call it a contest, but there was an open.
It was kind of a contest.
Yeah, and I was the only one that made it out of it, so I kind of became the lead designer by default, I guess.
Well, and you've been around wheels since day one, right? Like when Custom Offsets started, you and Sean were there since the beginning, so you've seen wheels since 2012 to now and everything that they've become and what goes into a wheel and all that. And then I think when I came around Custom Offsets, I was probably 16 or 17. I was still in high school, not working at CO at the time, just coming to hang out at the shop, hang out with all the guys and kind of just see everybody. And there was it was you behind the counter and Sean was there and Stance was there and that was about it. Emily'd be there every once in a while, and that's how it all started and stuff. And that's how I got into video and everything. I had a passion behind trucks, and I mean, you've seen it grow from there into kind of where we're at now and what we have now for vehicles and stuff. It's come a long way. How does it feel to go from a new wheel company to one of the biggest wheel brands within the first year? I think a lot of the excitement from starting a new company is kind of what like fuels it and gets it going, because it was like really exciting to have the naming sessions and figure out what we're gonna call it, the company, and then call the wheels and like what are the designs gonna look like, and that's all exciting. But then to be one of the biggest wheel brands within like a year, it's super humbling to look back on. You don't realize it when you're doing it because you're just in there, boom, 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 go, 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 I feel like. And then all of a sudden a year later, you're like, you take a step back and you're like, what did we just do? Like it happened so fast, it seemed like. But
yeah, and I think that goes to the testament of Custom Offsets too, right? I mean, how fast they grew, and it only followed, right? I mean, they learned how to do things the right way, and being such a new company and seeing that progress so fast, it's basically you're just implementing the same structure.
And even to leverage it. So as a new company, to have a father figure like CO to lean on and use for marketing was insane, because I feel like it's even more gratifying at that point, because not only do we create our own like wheel marketing company through Custom Offsets, but on top of that to create our own wheel company and use two of our own in-house, literally sit next to each other in the office companies to build both of them up is like one of the proudest things I think you can have. It's like having your own like child and watching it grow type of thing. Like you have that, you curated it, you created it from nothing, and now you've got another something that's like relying on it, and they're both growing together.
And I feel too that, I mean, that doesn't take credit away from what you guys as a marketing team did in the design aspects of ARKON, because CO has to play like the
middleman.
Yeah, the stepdad, right? You can't like favor you over another company that says
That's why Sean didn't want to do it to begin with, because he didn't want it to be oh, you're only pushing your wheel company now, and it's like no.
So it's not.
We love them all.
Yeah, and it's not what everybody thinks. They're like, oh yeah, well, Custom Offsets is so huge that of course they're gonna work. Well, like I said, you kind of have to play that middle person. You can't favorite.
That's a good point.
Too much.
Yep.
So,
how would you define a wheel as proper directional?
That's kind of a name that we created, to be honest with you.
I think if you're going to define a proper directional wheel, proper directional is ARKON. So, as far as if you're defining proper directional, I would say it has to be an ARKON wheel, and it has to be an ARKON wheel that has angled spokes. However, if you're saying a wheel has angled spokes, people might just say it's proper directional, but ARKON trademarked that name. So by all definitions, it's an ARKON technology, ARKON like design, but the proper directional styling is just true directional, which any wheel could be true directional. Was there something missing from the wheel industry that made ARKON want to lead with new features?
I kind of got bold with some of my first, like the Alexander. It was not like any other wheel. The Triumph was not a lot of people's favorites, but it wasn't like anything else out there. Yeah, so I think early on, I would say we kind of made it, our style was a little different. That being said, I think with the Lincoln, it held a lot of aspects of, and I can't speak for the design side of it because Sean came up with that one, but it had a lot of the same characteristics as a lot of the popular wheels. it just had its own twist.
And
on
I think
it,
we kind of
right?
touched on it before, but like the fact that there were no rivets. There are a lot of wheels at the time, 2012 to 2016, had rivets around. The fake rivets, around the edge of the rim, and people were wondering like, why it's not a beadlock? Why have those there? Why not make it look clean and simple? And that was kind of our goal, was to go clean, simple, showy, styled wheels. And we had the endless slip because everyone wants the biggest slip possible. So why not have no ridge so the barrel doesn't end? You have a lip that goes all the way through. The concavity was another big thing, right? So like the hybrid style where it's got concavity, but it's also got a lip, kind of incorporating multiple elements to make the design pop, so it didn't just kind of have a very basic look to it. And then also like the center caps, how clean and simple they were. It kind of just went to show the whole styling and idea that we had for ARKON, and what we wanted was just it all to flow nicely together. In your eyes, what makes a wheel design stand out to you and the entire industry? I think in today's day and age with how big wheels are getting, you need a design that looks good from your everyday like 20, 22, even 24, all the way up to like your bigger sizes, your 26s, and even when you look at SEMA, right, and you see your 28s and 30s, it's got to be a design that looks good in those big sizes, because that's what everyone wants to boast, is your big 26s, 28s, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and your whole marketing is based off of the bigger ones. I mean, we sell, our best selling size is 20 by 10, right?
Yeah.
Because of the volume and the amount of trucks that
can
we
fit on pretty much anything, stock to lifted.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So, and it doesn't necessarily, a 20 by 10 doesn't necessarily look good in a 26 by 14 if it's not the right design.
Right.
I mean,
so you got to have a balance there.
To be honest with you, some of the #1 sellers are the wheels that don't stand out.
Yeah,
right?
they're
They're the simple, clean designs. That's what people want. That's what the market wants. Every once in a while we'll try to get a little bold with a different style design, but for the most part they're pretty mainstream. They're just have a little added ARKON twist to them.
Yep, exactly, 100% agree. What is the process of coming up with a new wheel design? How long does it take start to finish? This one's all you.
Right? Yeah, lucky me. Well, the process of coming up with it, I think I get a lot of feedback from what the market's doing, right? Because obviously at the end of the day, we want to make what sells, right?
Yep.
I would say within a week I can have a drawing and then a render within, I'd say week and a half. That whole process takes from start of the design to a realistic render. So
that's only like 2 weeks?
Yeah, I would say, if not sooner sometimes, depending on the changes with the team that I have to make. If I say, hey, move this bolt here.
Sure,
Make this one thinner.
Yep. And then wheels are made 2 weeks later, so in a month total you have your wheels, right?
No. The mold takes about 30 days once the design's approved, and then it's about production time and shipping about 3 to 4 months.
But you get samples in after the molds are made, right? So they make the molds, we get samples, and if we don't like them or if there's something that needs to get changed, it goes back for revisions, and either A, they'll make a new sample for us, or B, if it's minor stuff, they'll just fix the mold and go.
Correct. Yeah, so I'd say from conception to consumer, it's 5 to 6 months.
What are the biggest challenges when having a left and right side for inventory and manufacturing hurdles?
So as far as inventory, obviously it doubles your SKUs.
Production can be an issue too, because if they're making only lefts and you need rights as well.
Or if a container gets shipped with all rights, which happens.
Yep, then you can't sell the wheel because you're missing half of the wheels.
There's tons of challenges, and at the end of the day, that's why nobody does it, right? Because of how much more work it is. But
maintaining that inventory.
Yep.
It's a whole commitment, realizing that you're inevitably going to have those challenges. There's no way to not have them. Like, it's just part of what it is, because they'll make what they make, they'll send it, and then you get it, and you're like, cool, where's the other side? And they're like, 3 months out, and you're like,
yeah, and I think that's what people don't understand too. I think a lot of people are like, well, why do I want true directional wheels?
Yeah.
And it's the extra efforts put in.
Yeah.
They look better.
Yep.
I don't care if that's just my opinion.
I'd agree. It does. It looks like you know what you're doing with your build. It looks like there's some flow to it. It's got a certain that extra effort kind of is what goes into it.
Yeah, and it was just an option in forged wheels.
Yeah. Yep. You're getting something that no one else really has and no one else has designed, because it's something kind of just sort of unique to us. It's kind of neat. What has been the biggest change to the lifted truck scene since ARKON started? So I think over the last like 5 or 6 years, it's crazy to see how big wheels have gotten. and this isn't even just ARKON related, but just in general, how back in 2015, 20 by 12s were big, and now that's like one of the smallest sizes that when you think of like wheel sizes. And for our branding and our style to capitalize on that and say, hey, we are you guys. We love the same thing you guys love. We love building stuff like this because that's who we are. So I would say the biggest thing to the lifted truck scene that's kind of like happened since ARKON started is just the norm of bigger wheels being just typical. 24s are normal now. If you have a 6-inch lift, you've probably got 24-14s on your truck.
Yeah, aside from the wheels aspect and that too, I just see everything getting cleaner, right?
Yeah.
I've just seen a lot of the builds cleaning up.
And I was gonna bring that up next too, is even the style of builds, right? This is a perfect example. All painted to match, all one color. Like maybe you have an accent suspension color and then like big chrome wheels or big black wheels that you rope your suspension color into. Yes. And it's like, even like my Bronco has cleared out heads and tails that are like OEM replacements. So it's not anything crazy out there. There's no crazy lights or anything. It's just an OE replacement, but.
Big old 26s.
Yeah, and then big old 26s. All right, wrapping this up, we got one last question. This is probably the hardest one out of them all. Where do you see the lifted truck industry going in the future?
My personal opinion, if the laws keep getting stricter than they are, I see it going less lifted.
Yeah.
And not smaller diameter wheels, but obviously less offset. You kind of see a lot of the southern states following suit with each other and, you know, making the 12 wides kind of like the very maximum that they can go. So
I can see it going two ways. I see that, but I also I don't think it can get much bigger. Like if 6 inches of lift in 35s, 37s are the norm now, are people in 3 years gonna be driving around in 42s and that's gonna be norm? I don't think so. That's impractical.
Yeah, and I think too, there's two aspects, right? There's the SEMA builds, and then there's
and there are always going to be the SEMA builds that have 30 inches of lift, giant coilovers. There'll be those guys that purposely are doing that because they want to be one-off, custom, completely their own thing, huge, but they're not driving it down the road. They're not the future. They're the one-off, let me show product on my truck type of guy. So honestly, at the end of the day, we don't know what it's going to hold. We don't know what it's going to look like. We know what the trends are, what people are liking right now, but I guess the future's in your hands and we'll be there along for the ride to figure out what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah.